time. Every time. Like a kid.
It's my thing.
I know, it's your thing.
It's what I do.
I know.
It's my thing. Hello, everybody.
Hello. How is everybody's about to get real?
Hey, y'all told me I'm not allowed to do the loud thing anymore, so...
Homestead in the Highlands. Look at all these people coming in here.
Whoop, whoop.
Homestead in the Highlands, they're over in the UK, right? Yeah, the UK.
I'm going to let you
They're
embarrass
on
yourself.
the other side of the pond.
They're on the pond.
They puddle jump to get over here.
Quite frankly, Jen. Hello, that's a new name.
You know who that is. Leave her alone.
That's a new name. I don't
know who that is. Scotland. They're from Scotland.
I remember a lady in our past whose name was Jen, but she didn't go by that name.
No, she didn't go by that name.
And she had an accent issue.
She did?
Yeah, she had an accent issue.
Wasn't it like Farmer Meemaw?
Farmer Meemaw. She played the chicken music every time.
Meemaw loves you, Jason. There it is.
Okay, so introduce our guest.
Okay, so this...
Introduce the guest. The guest. Introduce her.
Did you have more coffee soap today? So this...
You said I had to bathe from when she came in.
And you smell great.
He does. He smells really good. He's clean for once. So... So this is Lucy. Lucy is a really good friend of ours. She's also part of our upline with doTERRA. She decided, she found out about our classes, and she just couldn't stay away. She had to come see what this is all about. So,
I want to be part of the action.
Yes, there we go.
So, you have no idea what you signed up for.
I don't, no idea. So we kind of, the first couple of minutes, even though Jason gives us like a 5-minute heads up to let everybody come in, we still end up with a few people that trail in here in the first 5 or so minutes. So
we got 37 folks in here now, so we'll probably get up to about 50, 60, maybe 80.
Wow.
80 if people will share it.
So
on their social media.
Heather is Heather changed her name. Heather's Place. I like that, Heather. She is also a doTERRA wellness advocate. She's been, this month will be a year, so that's cool. Let's see.
Mama Oldways. She's in our team.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
She's right on. We placed her right under us.
City Girl is also
City
part
Girl
of our
Country
team.
Heart is on our team.
Yeah. So several of our team members are in here, which is kind of cool. We encourage them to invite people to come into the class so that they can learn more about.
If they miss more than one class a month, I flog them.
No, not really.
Gotcha.
What about me? Jeez, you're not on my team, Teresa. But Teresa's a good friend of ours too. So we have a lot of really close
there will be
friends
flogging
in here. Yeah. So tonight we're gonna talk about
our doTERRA team. See, I don't even see you do that stuff on purpose. Just
she does. She
said, "What team?"
She's like, "What team? What are you talking about?"
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, you ain't flogging me, Jason. I'll whoop you.
Mm-hmm.
She's probably good too.
Don't get flogged.
All right, so tonight we're going to talk about lavender. So
this is where I got to go to work.
We're going to talk about lavender tonight. Most people have used lavender in one way or another. There you go. And, it may be in your cleaning stuff or in baby lotion or baby powder or whatever. It's a very common, one of the most common used essential oils out of all of the ones that, are listed or used or marketed. Lavender tends to be the one that everybody is kind of familiar with.
I've heard it called the Swiss Army knife of oil.
There you go. And that really, it's, I'm writing a book right now. I've been writing a book.
For a year and a half.
For over a year.
That's okay.
And lavender is definitely high up on the list of, if I had to only pick so many, lavender would definitely be one of them.
There you go.
So,
the book away, yeah.
No, I'm not giving the book away.
Giving the book away.
So for those of you who haven't been into our, no, you're killing me. These Scottish people, man. So we'll hold on to that like when we get into the next hour when the kids are not. Because don't we have, what's her name in here? Didn't I see Little Creek in here?
Yep.
Yeah. So you're going to have to wait. So, because we do have, believe it or not, y'all, we do have some younger kids that come in here. And, yeah. So we got to keep it family friendly. Maybe you could do that like in a PM or something somewhere. All right. So what we normally do with the class is I usually have a pretty good structure. We talk about how we use it, what it is. But before I do any of that, I usually talk about contraindications and precautions. Like we always got to talk about that first and foremost because I want everybody to be aware that there are things that can interact with certain stuff and things to be careful with. So first of all, lavender can be used aromatically, internally, and topically. Topically for the most part. Oh, are you lucky enough that I didn't bring it out here? Or is it over there?
I've got some over
Oh, there's Lucina's thing.
You know she's got
it.
Brought the all oil kits.
She's got a fancy schmancy kit there. So, so lavender can be used topically. For the most part, it can be used neat.
You just instigating.
It can be used neat, meaning that you don't have to use a oil to dilute it for the most part, but I always encourage people to do a sensitivity test, either on the inside of your wrist or...
I'm very sensitive to lavender.
No, you're not. Nice try there, Jason. So, so we mentioned you can use it internally, Jason. Mm-hmm. This is your time.
No, there's only 39 people in here.
Oh, you're gonna wait until it gets a little. Oh, there goes the dancing bear. Do you have a chaser? Like no, he doesn't have a chaser. He's got his tea, which will be okay.
Oh, breakaways in here, man. Why did you let me get into this? I blame you, Patrick.
He's watching for oregano coming up. He's waiting for oregano to happen.
Before we really go before I drink this, hold on right now. There's going to be because this is lavender. And before I taste this one.
It's going to be bad.
Patrick, what is your number at? Where are you at number-wise?
9 something. He's really close to 1,000. Let's see.
I'm pulling it up on my phone.
I bet you are.
I'm pull it up on my phone. If I can.
If you can. He's going to get to it. He's checking too. Look at you.
Who gets to it first?
Do not taste it. Trust me, not so good for taste as it is for smell. 957.
957.
He needs 43 to get, 43 to get to 1,000.
Okay. Breakaway Homestead is trying to get to 1,000 subs.
Mm-hmm.
He's at 957.
Thanks, YouTube.
If we can get him to 965.
That's it?
Well, I'd like to get him to 1,000 here.
Yeah.
So if you're not sub to him, please go sub to him. And then I'm going to do this.
Okay, so we're going to wait just a little bit. So, okay. So let's talk about contraindications, side effects, all of that fun stuff. Lavender can cause... I've never had it for me, but can cause... And tell me, I mean, you don't have to tell me about some of these, but constipation. Never had that. Never had lavender cause that. Ever.
I'll let you know in about 8 hours.
Headache, which is ironic because I use it for headaches. And increased appetite. Never knew that.
So that's why I'm so hungry all the time, because you're always diffusing this.
Yep. So, not common ones that I've heard of, but did see them as listed. So definitely, keep that in the back of your mind. Another one that I've heard, and a lot of you might have heard this too.
With lavender.
Yeah, well, some people do get migraines with lavender. They have a reaction to it. So, yeah, that can happen. That's right. So, another thing is, and I'm sure you've heard this, that young boys are not supposed to use lavender because a boy who hasn't reached puberty yet, basically, because lavender seems to have a hormonal effect that disrupts the normal hormones in a young boy's body. So
I think that has been disputed.
Okay.
Again, some of these contraindications, what we need to keep in mind is different brands have different purity, or maybe some synthetics included in them. So I'm not saying that you would never get that kind of reaction from a bottle of doTERRA, but it could be that these other brands tend to have those side effects more frequently.
Right. I think what I like to do is put it out there that it's always a possibility.
Right.
That way you know that it's something that is a possibility. It's not that it's gonna happen, but I like to know that there's the possibility of it. And I feel like that could even be lavender in general, the plant, not even just the oil. Like that's just and again, how much proof do we have with it? It's just, but it is one that comes from a reputable source. So it's not just one. Everybody knows I do a lot of cross-checking back and forth, and it is something that comes up a lot when talking about lavender. So, so for that, another thing, lavender is sedative. It has a sedative property to it. It can slow down the central nervous system a little bit. So if you're one that uses lavender frequently, if you know you're going to have a scheduled surgery, it's good to back off of this for about 2 weeks before your surgery, because you don't want it to have the sedative effects that slows down that kind of stuff, and it can interact with anesthesia and things of that nature. So definitely back off if you're going to do that kind of thing. And then on top of that, I always say this: if you're using something for a particular property, if you take any kind of medication that also has that same property, you don't want to do them at the same time, because it will intensify what you're doing. So if you're taking any kind of sleeping stuff or anything, because we know that lavender can make people drowsy. So if you're taking something that also makes you drowsy, even if it's just a side effect of a medication, if that can make you drowsy, don't take it and take lavender at the same time. You don't want to put yourself in a coma, not wake up for 3 days, right? So, so things like barbiturate, any kind of sedatives, CNS depressants, you don't want to mess with any of that, because you don't want to be too sleepy. That's kind of the thing. You just want to make sure that if you're using it for a particular property, you don't want to double up on any medication or any other thing that you're using at the same time. So there's a good example. Terry says, I can't use lavender at night with her seizure medication.
Yes.
So, so that's the kind of thing, is definitely, be aware that it can intensify the effects.
Yes, exactly.
Of what you're using.
And that goes with any medication and any oils that you're using.
Exactly.
That's really a good
point. And I always tell people that with any oil, it doesn't matter whether it's lavender, peppermint, whatever. If you're using it for a particular property and you're taking a medication for that same property, do not use them at the same time.
Right.
And that's a good. And Teresa is our resident. She's an EMT.
Oh, good.
And so she always tells everybody, make sure to talk to your private care provider, because that's, have an open communication with them. So they have the whole story. They have the whole picture. Because there are doctors out there that are very aware of, and they're a little bit fewer and far between, but they're coming around. Because, even the, is it Vanderbilt that started using it in the hospitals? So it does what? No. So where are we?
We're 3 away. 3 away.
I'm sorry, she was a medic. I always get that mixed up.
3 away. Subscribe. You're not subscribed to Breakaway Homestead. Go ahead and subscribe.
She's putting it out there too.
We're going to get a certain number, and I'm going to drink some lavender.
So Terry said the last time that she used it and did her medication, she slept in and she woke up at like noon. So yeah, that's not
I bet
good.
that was a nice, good, solid.
It was a good sleep, but yeah, I bet it was like, oh, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
Okay, so lavender essential oil obviously comes from the lavender plant. So let's talk a little bit
Didn't
about.
come from Walmart?
Okay. So let's talk about the plant, because that's another thing I like to do is to talk about where it came from. So lavender is a perennial. We know that it grows kind of in like a bush kind of form. It can get to be like 3 feet tall. Like they can get pretty stinking tall. Most of the varieties we see don't ever get that tall because they're too busy harvesting them to let them get, crazy tall. They're part of the mint family. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
They're part of the mint family. What are you doing? You watching his numbers climb. Look at you. Part of the mint family. First cultivated in, and I am not a French pronouncing person, so Provence, was it? So it
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think that's right. Somebody correct me. How about my Scottish buddy in there? He was fussing the other night when we were saying, what was the word we were? Oh, Berkshire and
See, you always bring it up.
Yorkshire. But it's a region of France in the Mediterranean. Was grown originally, and it does really well in rocky soil. Also high altitudes. And the higher altitude actually produces a higher... Oh, it's a female. I'm sorry. It's the first time I've done that. That's usually Jason's thing. We used to call Suburban Hillbilly. We used to call her a guy.
Wow.
I'm sorry, dear. All right, so it results in a higher aster, and here's your favorite thing, sesquiterpene.
Answer Linda right now. Yes.
Yes, lavender is calming. For most people, here's the thing. A lot of oils, for the most part, will work a certain way on people.
Did he lose like 500 subs?
No, that's her.
Because she's saying 365.
I don't know.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Maybe she's hitting the 3 instead of the 9. I don't know.
The
But
3 is the circle.
There you go, 965. There it is, 965. It's time for you to... Now I've lost some weight. Look. Did you put the camera further away? Because my face isn't as fat. Sorry.
Hello, squirrel.
I know. I was gone. All right. So, yeah. So go ahead and do that. Oh, I know what this tastes like. It's not my favorite taste.
Patrick,
This is for you.
this is for you,
Chug,
dude.
chug, chug.
Don't you ever say I've never done anything for you and that I don't have your back.
I know. He's stalling. One drop. Good. Oh, you killing yourself. Oh. Go ahead and drink your tea. Chase it real quick.
That's right. Let's all. Here's to
Jason.
If you have not subbed Breakaway Homestead, go sub him now. You just got that. Oh.
I hope you can stay awake.
I know, right? That's what I'm thinking. You're going to pass out in the corner over there in a minute.
Do you ever show this?
Yes.
Okay.
So, most of you are familiar with this, but some people might be thinking, why is he putting an essential oil into his body? Why is he internally, ingesting it?
Because Patrick is my friend and I want to see him get to 1,000 subs. Now go sub him.
And we've covered this before, but on the bottles, the lovely, is it the FDA that makes us do that? FDA requires that if it's something you can ingest, that you put supplemental facts on the label. So if you ever see a bottle of essential oil and it has supplemental facts on the label, that will give you a clue to let you know that it's something you can ingest. But again, know where the oils are coming from, the purity level, all of that before you just go tossing lavender down your gullet. So,
You okay?
Yeah.
Someone told me to make a lavender tea. Are most internet recipes good to use? Just be very careful with the quality of the oil that you use. A lot of your oils that you buy are not going to be ingestible. You just want to make sure that it does have the supplemental facts on there, that it's something you can trust the quality enough to do that. Put it in your cup and drink it. Okay, so lavender. So what I was saying before is it's been grown up in high altitudes because it results in a more potent fragrance and oil. A lot of essential oils being sold are full. That's true.
What does that say?
Teresa said a lot of essential oils being sold are full of crap that you can't even pronounce. So a good one, as an example, and I'll put the link up in our Facebook group. There is a group on Facebook that's Consumer Reports for essential oils, and they test certain brands. People submit, certain oils to be tested. And there is this back and forth about lavender versus lavendin.
Yes.
So there's this thing, and lavendin, from what I seem to remember, is not ingestible. That form of it is not recommended to be ingested. If I
has
remember.
a very bad aftertaste.
Yeah, lavender is not something you want to guzzle. It's really not. It's good for accenting flavors of stuff, but we're talking toothpick, not drops in your mouth.
That was just.
So
Anyway, you better get 1,000 subs.
Wake up.
Yeah. So anyways, by growing it that way, it gives it a higher ester and also sesquiterpene, which I'm not even going to get into that, but it's just the chemical breakdown of the oil. It's the alcohol content, which it increases the benefits of the lavender oil. So again, no different than when if you pluck something at a certain time or harvest something at a certain time, it's better. Even with this one, with lavender, it said that if you pick it during the heat of the day, that's the best time to harvest lavenders, during the middle of the day when it's the hottest. One thing I didn't know, lavender doesn't have seeds. It doesn't grow regular seeds. You'll get the lavender little dried flowers, but you don't get actual seeds. You have to propagate it through cuttings or through root division. Why are you laughing?
Well, this is how my brain works.
Uh-huh.
I just drank a bunch of lavender, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, this thought popped in my head. If I was a heavy drinking guy and I was in a bar and I go to get in a bar fight with lavender breath, how funny would that be?
Yeah, I think that would be kind of interesting. You go to breathe on somebody and be like, dude, you smell like
get
flowers.
on my face. Dude.
You smell like flowers. Another cool thing, any of you that raise honeybees, the nectar.
They're here.
First of all, what? The honeybees?
Nope.
Who? Oh, two family. Yay! You got their shirt on again.
See, somebody told me that Daryl said that if I wore my two family t-shirt during the live stream, he'd come fix my tractor.
Oh, that's why you're doing it. You want the tractor fixed.
Damn.
So lavender definitely attracts bees, butterflies to your garden. So it's definitely a good one to plant. The nectar from lavender is actually used to make a really high quality honey. So I'm excited to have some of that. Yeah. So that was
honey.
Yeah. So that would be interesting.
Not if it tastes like this.
Most lavender plants that we all see are either blue or purple. But there are actually varieties that are yellow or pink. So I would love to see that. I think that would be kind of neat. Lavender buds are covered with little hairs, and that's actually where they get the essential oil from. So that's pretty neat.
From the flower?
Yeah, so from the flower on the buds of the lavender, there's little teeny hairs that are on each bud, and that's where they get the oil
I knew
from.
they got it from the flower, but I didn't realize it had the little hairs on there.
Yep.
Huh.
They are drought tolerant, and they thrive in high temperatures. Remember, like I said, the best time to harvest them is in the middle of the heat of the day, and they seem to be stronger when they're at that.
So why don't we reach out to doTERRA and tell them to pay us to just take that whole
luck.
bat and just plant lavender? Because we don't ever get any rain, because the guidestones, they make the rain clouds go around us, and it gets hotter than Hades.
It does get really hot. One year you were tossing rings out into the pond, huh? Lavender comes from the Latin word
Hey, that took me a second. You just called me a hobbit.
Did you?
Yep, I sure did. So, Mama says, I wonder you sprayed the bees with a mister with lavender if they would sleep and you could rob the hives easier. Ooh, I don't know that you don't want to get them wet in the first place, because then that messes with their wings.
Yes.
But
Two Family wants to know who's the guest.
Who's the guest? This is Miss Lucy. She is a good friend of ours. She's also part of our doTERRA team. She's their upline. So she's above us a little bit, but not too far above us that she won't come and visit.
She made us kiss a ring when she came in. She's like, I'm here.
She's the godfather.
Okay, you promised you yeah.
But she's been a really good support system for us as we're going on our journey doing the business angle of this. So, Homestead of the Highlands, no ferry. You're cutting place there. Queen Elizabeth first was a fan of lavender. Yes, she had lavender jelly that
she
they
is
used
the godmother.
to. Yeah. So, okay, so now to the history. This is the fun part. We love the history part. So, lavender's been used well over 2,500 years.
Romans.
Long time ago. Egyptians actually used it for the mummification process. They have found urns that still had lavender residue in the urns from when they used to use the burials and stuff. There are some interpretations of the Bible that actually say that lavender used to be translated as nard, and then you jump to spikenard. I still think it's spikenard. Could be lavender. But whatever the case, essential oils, the oils were used to anoint Jesus in several different parts of the Bible. So I thought that was really cool. Whether it be lavender, spikenard, whatever, that's always nice to see that kind of thing. Because we always hear about, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So you always hear about frankincense and myrrh. But this is another place where you kind of hear about that.
What's up, Bronco?
Let's see. So the Greeks learned from the Egyptians about the perfume use of lavender. So then the Romans learned from the Greeks. And here's where I think it's kind of cool to see where there's I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. Like, they do something by accident, but it really works kind of thing. They used to use lavender in the public baths.
Yeah, the Romans.
The Romans did. Mm-hmm. And back before showering and cleaning on a daily, because like we all take for granted, a lot of people take baths or showers daily. And back then they didn't do that. So a lot of times they would use lavender to in their hair or on their clothing so that they could smell better. So because they didn't wash clothes as often, that kind of thing. So lavender was used a lot for that. But they also used lavender in the public bathhouses. Now, what I think is interesting about that is you would think with as many people that used to come in and out of those areas that people would get sick or stuff like that, but they never did. And what I think is interesting is they used the lavender for the smell, but we all we've learned that lavender has antibacterial properties. And so I think it's interesting that they used lavender for the purpose of smell, but accidentally they were killing all of the yuck that was going on in the public bathhouses through the lavender. So I thought that was pretty neat. They also used it for medicinal values. They definitely used it for headaches and stomach aches and all of that. Lavender was very widely used. Even during the Renaissance, it was used to fight infection, even the plague. People used to wear bracelets of lavender on their wrists. And of course, when a plague was carried on the lice of rats. So one of the other cool things that I think we'll learn about a little bit further down the road in this class is that lavender deters mice and rats. So I think it's kind of neat that they tried to use this to kind of keep the mice and rats away so that the plague wouldn't continue to spread. So that was also kind of neat as well.
Just took my dude moment.
Well, you need to tell me what your dude moment is ahead of time so that I don't talk about it.
Just took my dude moment.
I'm sorry.
You can go ahead and do it. You can do it still.
Well, why don't you want to tell us
Go ahead.
what are you going to tell us?
No, keep
Go
going.
ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll do
Keep
this
going,
and
dude
then...
moment stealer.
So, the other really cool thing is what we were talking about with Queen Victoria and also Marie Antoinette, who eventually lost her head, right? But Queen Victoria used to have them use lavender polish on the furniture to make everything smell clean and always hospitable. And she drank tea for stomach aches and headaches. So, and then Marie Antoinette wanted her entire palace constantly decorated in lavender, and that might be what her ultimate demise was. Maybe King Henry didn't like lavender as much. What?
You okay
What's
over
wrong
there,
with
Jason?
you?
No, I'm good.
You good? Are you
Yep.
sleepy?
Definitely understand
Another
that.
really cool things that that English royalty used to do, they would put lavender used to be sold by the bunches, and they would lay them out on the ground of the palaces, and people would just walk and step on them, which would release the smell. And so that was cool too, that it kind of gave off a smell of clean. And I think it's cool or interesting, whichever way you want to look at it now, that most of your cleaning products have a lavender scent, right?
Oh,
they have a
gosh.
lavender detergent, lavender fabric softener,
Yeah.
lavender
Lavender-
Clorox,
yeah,
lavender
yeah.
everything, right?
Yes.
So we
Mama T!
so we already associate, as a society, we already associate lavender with cleaning. And that's one thing I was saying earlier. Lavender comes from the Latin word lavare, which means to wash. So that's, it kind of, was that part of your dude moment too? You're giving me this look.
Just jump on in.
So, Jason,
Jason?
before I get a little bit further into this, tell us what you like to use lavender for the most.
I like to taste it.
It's so not true.
You know what I think bothers me about the whole thing?
What?
Is Miss Lucy wasn't shocked at all. So she's either went back and watched some of the ones that I've tasted, or we've just been friends too long.
Probably. It was probably the latter. So, now the really interesting part about kind of where we went from an essential oil being used as an aromatherapy technique to where it was actually used more for topical use. One of the founders of aromatherapy, his name is Rene Gatefosse, maybe? Something like that. Gatefosse. He burned himself in his lab. And he plunged his arm into where they had the essential oil and noticed that there was a quick healing and a lack of scarring and infection. And then also, and this is pretty neat, I remember covering this in the last class, in World War I, they used it as part of the wound dressing for injured soldiers. So they used to use lavender for that. And now, of course, we know that it has antibacterial properties, so that kind of stuff makes sense. So, now, what is it good for? What's it good for, Jason?
You done right over all of it.
No? Go ahead. Tell me something that you use it for, specifically.
I use it to go to sleep.
You use it to go to sleep.
Specifically to go to sleep. Mm-hmm. And if I get a cut, if I'm working on a car or doing some woodworking stuff and I get a cut, I'll use it for that. But let's do the dude moment.
Okay, do your dude moment.
The dude moment. Now, for those of you guys that are just coming in here, it's first time here, the dude moment is how a real dude
can smell like a flower. Sorry. Very doodly. I'm telling you, you smell like a dude.
Can use the essential oil and how we use the essential oils. Mm-hmm. And it benefits us. Like last week we was talking about with peppermint and how I stumbled across how peppermint helps break up automotive grease on your hands. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I have heard, now I haven't had to try this myself yet, but I had a buddy who gut shot a deer.
Ooh.
And the deer took off. Well, anybody that knows the deer gets pumped full of adrenaline, that's where that gamey taste comes from. Mm-hmm. They took some lavender, mixed it with milk, soaked the deer meat in it. No gamey taste.
Huh.
Wow.
Might have to try that.
Well, I shoot mine.
We never have that issue, but I was thinking like with
That's
other
good
animals.
To know, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, any cuts that also can be used on livestock.
Yes. So we have used lavender a lot on livestock.
Especially with like Miss Daisy jumping fences. Mm-hmm. She cuts her teat or cuts the bag.
We have definitely
rub the I can't even talk now.
Now we've used it with a carrier oil. When you're using it with livestock, I definitely recommend using a carrier oil. But we've done that a lot with her because when she was jumping the fence, we had barbed wire. And so it was not uncommon for her to have one of her teats or part of her udder just tore up.
Taking over the dude moment, honey.
That's not a dude moment.
It's part of the dude moment.
Okay. Well, tell me the rest of it. So what do you do?
Can I tell you about my dog?
Go ahead.
Okay.
What do you do with your dog?
So we have 2 golden retrievers, and Scout has been having some issue with his ears. Mm-hmm. You know, he'll like shake his head real bad. And so you can get some of the oils are in a rollerball like this that are already pre-diluted. Mm-hmm. So this is the kind that we use lavender on Scout, and we'll just roll a little bit on the inside flap of his ears, and I mean like within seconds he'll stop shaking his head and he'll be fine for a good bit of the day. Like maybe we have to do it in the beginning, we had to do it like twice a day, but now sometimes we just do it in the morning and it lasts all day long.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really helped a poor little guy.
All right. 2 people both have asked, does it need to be mixed with a carrier oil to apply to animals? I would recommend that. Mm-hmm. What carrier oil do you recommend with lavender? Any, really, but you can use fractionated coconut oil. You can use regular, if you don't have fractionated coconut oil, you can use regular coconut oil that melts in your hand. You can use, in a stretch, you can use olive oil, but you can use almond oil, avocado, jojoba, grapeseed oil, any of those.
Swampy Ace or Swampy Acres Homestead, send me an email with your address. I'm going to send you a sample bottle of lavender because I want to know the answer to that question. Because if that can help with ear mites on rabbits, that's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, that would help a lot.
That would be a game changer. That I'm going to send you a bottle on me, and all I ask, the only condition is that you apply it to your rabbits, keep some documentation, some pictures for me, and send it back and let us know.
Okay.
For a rabbit, it would be definitely diluted.
Yeah. And you would, well, and maybe what we'll do, Swampy Acres, is we might make a rollerball.
Make them a rollerball.
And send it to you already pre-diluted so that it's good to go.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Now, the other thing that I like to do. Remember, well, is Patrick even still in here?
Probably not.
The thing, when I did my predator control class, the thing that I wanted everybody to remember from the class was everything follows its food source. Everything.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
And so when you have if you're not moving your chickens in an A-mobile or a chicken tractor and moving them every day, and you're doing the deep bed method, when you go to throw in another layer of bedding, take a cotton ball with the lavender. Take 3 or 4 of them. Drop them in there. Throw the new bedding on top. Yes. What that lavender will do is repel those mice and rats. And also it helps keep the odor. The odor of the chicken coop down. And I honestly believe I didn't know any better, so I didn't keep any good documentation. But if we ever put chickens back in coops, which there's 50 people in here, you're getting a little behind the scenes kind of thing. We're putting, with our whole garden project that we're doing in the front yard, we're going to be running little chicken coops with chicken tunnels.
Oh, cool.
I also think that it helped keep the mites
off of the chickens.
Yep. I can't prove it.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing that we started doing different. The moment I found out it was going to keep mice and rats away, because we were having field mice coming in, plucking feathers, that's what I did. The mice and rats stopped, and then the mites went away.
Yeah.
Very good.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the antibacterial properties as well, kind of help keep things to a minimum with all of the, yuck that goes on in a chicken coop.
Because chicken coops, we all know through experience, chicken coops can get nasty. They can get stinky. And when that odor starts going out there and flowing out there, well, it's not just attracting the mice and the rats. That's how the raccoons and the possums and the foxes find it. So if you can keep that with a deep bed method, it helps. But also when you're putting those cotton balls of lavender out there, boom, 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 boom.
That's a good idea.
It helps.
That makes sense.
So, are you good?
I'm done now. You done talking about all the rest of the stuff.
No, I mean, you had plenty. So, would it work for quail
I was
too?
I was gonna look like a genius about the whole chicken thing, and then you just gonna.
That's what I do.
You can still say it, Jason.
You took my genius moment.
Oh, I'm sorry. So that wasn't the dude moment. That was the genius moment.
Well, that's because that's how dudes think. We think about stuff like that. We see a problem and we want to solve it. Remember, a dude's brain is like a waffle. Bunch of tiny little boxes. We work inside said box. When we're done and we've done it well, we jump out of that box, close the lid, put it off to the side.
Go to the next box.
Right. Y'all's brain's like spaghetti. Everything is touching. Y'all can go from talking about chickens to a sale on shoes and like. And we're standing over here going, how did we get to shoes?
All right. Would it work for quail too?
Yes.
Yes, I would imagine so. Yes. Okay, so let's talk about the properties real quick, because we've kind of talked. We've been all over this. One thing that I love about doing this class again is that it's been 2.5 years since we've done this class. So there's been a lot.
Taste it.
Right, and there's been a lot of stuff that we've learned, applications, things like that we didn't know 2.5 years ago. So I really don't need to look at my notes as much for what you can use it for, because since then we have used it for all of that stuff. So some of the different properties that it has, it's an analgesic, so it can help with pain, anti-inflammatory, antidepressant, antifungal. So somebody was asking earlier about antifungal. I think it was Teresa. So that answers your question. It does have antifungal properties. Antihistamine, which is huge, and we'll talk about that one a little bit more in a second. Antiseptic, which we have used it for those properties before with our animals. Because, sepsis is a bad thing when you start getting to where you want to make sure that they don't go into sepsis, this is definitely an option we've used before. Antispasmodic, which something to keep in your wheelhouse for your hiccups. So it's another one you can try.
I'm not touching lavender for a long time.
I think you should drink a little more.
A little bit more. Look, no hiccups. See, look,
I know,
no
not
GERD. It's also sedative, and one of the other things is it's a flour or a flavor additive. We've talked about this before, where people cook using it, and that seems to help accentuate. I always think of it as almost like a salt. How salt will kind of bring flavor out. Now, that doesn't mean by any means take your bottle and use it like a salt shaker.
Right.
Lavender is another one of these where I would recommend putting it on less is more, putting it on a toothpick and then swirling it around in whatever you're trying to flavor.
I've heard of a recipe with lavender lemonade.
Yes.
I bet that would
I
really
have
enhance the
lemon. Common Sense University says lavender on cotton balls makes shoes smell good.
That's true.
It does, but it also, again, remember those properties. It's antifungal. So, if you got anything in those shoes, that can help. And then also antiseptic. I mean, all of the different properties. Antibacterial. You definitely want something like that works out really well for those. Let's see. Lavender lemonade is delicious. There you go.
Good.
We'll have to try that. Okay.
This is wonderful.
I know. I love. So we're eating dried pineapple, in case any of y'all are wondering.
Have been.
It's very good.
I can put a little lavender on it.
No. Okay. So, Linda wants to know, can you use it in a bath? Would it work that way? If so, how would you use per gallon? You want to answer that one?
One
How do
drop
we
for
use
a
it?
whole tub.
No, so one of the ways that we've learned it's been the best way to distribute the oil evenly in a bathtub is to take a small, maybe like a half a cup of Epsom salt. Take your lavender and put it in the Epsom salt. So a couple drops is fine, because if you're going to have a big bathtub, a couple drops isn't going to hurt. 2 drops, 3 drops, somewhere around in there. Put it in there and mix it around in the Epsom salt. It's really good. Then put that into your bathtub. That's the best way. So, so Sub said several drops mixed with Epsom salts and crash out. Because like Sub does, she has a mason jar. But she goes ahead and pre-mixes it. And then whenever she wants to take a bath with it, she'll take her scoop out, put it in her bathtub, and she's good to go. So that
really
works.
infused, too.
Yeah, so it works really well because then it's a little bit more concentrated. If Linda is looking for something like that, hit her up on the side about sending her some of the stuff that'll make her sleep better. Okay. Any other questions so far? Anybody else wondering about something?
Can I tell a lavender story?
Absolutely.
Okay, so when I joined doTERRA, one of the oils that came into the kit that I bought had lavender in it. And I was using a curling iron, and I burned my forehead. I mean, like a burn on my forehead. Oh my gosh, I
horrible years.
Yeah, it was like, oh my gosh, I remember reading that lavender is really good to help burn. And I am not kidding you. It was red, and like, I just put, a little bit like that. And within 20, 30 minutes, you could just see that red starting to disappear. It never did scab. I just kept putting that on there. It soothed the burn. It just never left a scar. Nothing. I mean, it was like my first miracle.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you and that's one thing. If you don't use lavender for anything else, burns. I don't know if Jen is still in here, but lavender was when she had issues with sunburn. She posted out there she got completely just
Toasted.
Yeah, it was really bad. And so I told her to put lavender on her sunburn, and it helped tremendously. But I'll tell you, I wasn't really big on oils a couple years ago. I was working at Arby's, and I didn't really have time for learning about anything else. I was too busy worrying about food safety and things like that. And Kay had just kind of signed us up and got us started using them. And I asked her, just a couple of what can I use these for? Well, I got into the habit whenever something would happen, I would text her real quick, hey, what can I use for this? What can I use for that? Well, one time, it was really bad. I went to pull something out of the oven, and this whole part right here,
I remember that.
I got scalded. I mean, super bad, second degree, gonna be a boil, blister, burn. And I texted her and asked her, and she said, do you still have your stuff with you? And I said, yeah. She's like, use lavender and frankincense right now. Put it on there right now. And so I did. And she said, and you're gonna have to do it, 2 or 3 times tonight. Do it every, maybe 45 minutes. Do it, put more on there. And I was like, okay, because I was looking at having to go to the hospital because it was bad.
Yeah. I remember that.
And so I put it on there. And then I put it on there. And I put it on there. And it never peeled. It went from being where it looked like it was going to be a full blister to the skin kind of laid back down. It healed back, and I have nothing. There's no scar. There's no even indication that I even hit it at all.
What's up, Food Forest?
So that's one of the things that
I have forgotten about that.
I have heard over and over again, to the point where my boss let me keep lavender and frankincense on site if we ever had anybody get a grease burn.
Wow.
An oven burn, because it happened a couple of times, and I'd be like, come here. So, and always, it's one thing that consistently, some people say lavender doesn't work for me, it doesn't make me sleep, or doesn't help with my headaches. But one thing I have noticed is no matter who it is, it's always worked on skin issues, especially burns, mosquito bites. Because it has antihistamine properties, it takes away the itch. Yeah, so that is definitely, and I know City Girl, she has used it because when mosquito bites are bad, they're bad. They're super bad. She asked me about it, and so we used lavender to get the bite, the pain of the bite out of there. What are you doing? So that's definitely one to use.
Trying to find out
where what?
What number he's on.
Oh, why are you not looking?
Because mine still says 262 or
what?
962.
962. Let's see. Oh, so another thing I've seen is lavender used for people with blood sugar flippity flops.
Glucose?
So, yeah, there's been a little bit of research. I haven't seen a lot of it.
Like, where would you put it?
I've seen people ingesting it for the most part. It's part of their diet kind of thing to help regulate blood sugar. So, I will tell you that while I was using it, because I'm hypoglycemic, and never had any issues with blood sugar, major flip-flops if I don't starve myself, other than that. Let's see. I'm a full-blown diabetic. Never heard to use it. I'm very allergic.
Can somebody tell me where Patrick is with his sub count, please?
Suburban said, I'm very allergic to spiders. Robyn helped. Yeah, because that was one of the things that we said, is that spiders do not like the smell of lavender. So that's why a lot of people tend to plant lavender close to their, it's still 965. They plant it really close to their vegetable gardens. Because it deters there's a lot of pests out there that do not like the smell of lavender. So that's why a lot of people use it. Let's see. All right. So definitely one of the big things that we use lavender for is what we were talking about with sleeping. One of the very first nights that we had lavender.
I like to get Blaze with it. Blaze starts getting on my nerves.
You just squirt some lavender on him?
Yep. Because then he'll bounce around. I mean, he goes off the wall, bouncing off the walls, and then he just falls out.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, like, got to pick him up and put him in the bed. Out.
Our friend's had 2 strokes a few years ago. Has vertigo real bad. What else can they use besides frankincense, rosemary, ylang ylang, and ginger?
For vertigo?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. We've talked about this. For some reason, rosemary is sticking in my head, but I'm not sure. I had a bite on my scalp. Could not wash or brush my hair without irritation. Lavender fixed it. Yeah, lavender has so many different applications. Does anybody else have a lavender story they want to share?
Well, do you want to talk about all these other pictures you made me upload?
Oh, yeah. So what we did is we went ahead and all of these other blends have lavender as well. Okay. Before I get into that, for vertigo, you can use, let's see, frankincense and ginger are on there. Helichrysum is another one. Basil, lavender, peppermint, and you already had ylang ylang on there. So those are the ones that are the protocols that I see.
Behind the ears and down the jaw.
Okay. And then bottoms of feet. Yeah. So lots of different options there. Thank you. Let's see. What was I?
You know, it just came to me.
What?
Full Spectrum Survival's also on right now, so that's where Patrick is.
Yeah. So with lavender is used, I mean, there's so many different things that we've used it for. One of the first nights when we just got our lavender, oh, there he is. Updates.
See, mine wanted to update too, and I had to put it off. I figured, how Full Spectrum not on tonight? That's why I just remembered that.
He goes on at 9, doesn't he? It's just now 9.
Oh, I thought he went on at 8.
No, I mean, maybe he does. But, let's see. So, there's a lot of different things. Aromatherapy, is huge. Oh, he did move to 8. Aromatherapy is really big with lavender. A lot of people use it for the calming properties, the sedative properties. When we first started using lavender, we used it all the time to diffuse at night. And one of the other ones that we used at night was Serenity. When we first started, we used Serenity a ton because it also has lavender in it. So you definitely, double up on it. But there you go. But lavender is pretty cool. This is Serenity. It's the Restful blend. It does have lavender in it. It also has vanilla in it. Did you know that? Vanilla. Smells amazing. I love this. What? What?
It has lavender and vanilla.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It has other stuff in it, but it has lavender and it has vanilla.
I might have to take some of that and put it on a coon cuff.
So Mark says he loves Serenity. It really knocks him out. Some people it works wonders for. Suburban said you spoke about Vanderbilt earlier. My brother spent yesterday at Vanderbilt. Any suggestions for severe epilepsy? Get in touch with City Girl because she is epileptic. And she has learned what oils she can use, what she can't, and all of that. So she definitely is somebody to talk to about that.
Mm-hmm.
So Wendy says I use those when I can't sleep with cedar wood. Cedar wood is good with that too, yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting in the Highlands. I gotta get to bed. It's 2 a.m. and all this talk about calming lavender is making me sleepy. Good night, sweetheart. Have a good one. Thanks for coming by.
Even though you called her a dude.
I called her a sweetheart now. One time, that's all I need. I only need once. Somebody else needs to be constantly reminded.
You'll be all right.
How long did it take you to call Sub a girl?
I don't know. I did it with another one too, and they don't come around anymore.
Oh, yeah? Who was that?
Who was it?
I don't know. I hope y'all aren't eating Jerusalem artichokes. Nope.
Who said that?
So, it was about to get real in here.
Yeah, they're Jerusalem artichokes. That's why we turned the
Heat off.
heat off. Was it food forest permaculture?
What?
That I used to call a boy to, and it was a girl. Or something like that.
All right, let's see. Is there a special way to use diffusers? When I used mine, I couldn't smell anything. What kind of diffuser do you have? That's going to be my first question. Because I've learned to not assume that people were talking about the regular cold diffusers. Some people were talking about like reed diffusers and stuff.
Oh.
You never know. What season do you eat those artichokes? In the fall. During artichoke season. What? I use the Walmart $20 diffuser. 3 drops of lavender and it works great. Cheap one from Target. How many drops of oil are you using? And what kind of oil are you using? Because some oils it takes more to make it smell more powerful.
What's he doing outside?
I don't know. You might want to go check on that though.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Put the lid on that.
Okay, so
That's the $1 million question too. Well, how'd he get out here?
I used 10 drops of
Go see
sweet
Papa.
orange all
Go
I
see
had
Daddy.
at the time.
Go see Daddy. Go on. We've got a special guest here tonight.
Go with Daddy.
Go through.
I wonder what happened. He was in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I hope he gets the otter. That's what he's doing. He's going after the otter. We have an otter and a beaver living in our pond.
Oh, wow.
So we're interested in that, following that.
You might go fishing.
The dog barked and I jumped for a split second. I thought I was in my garage. Yeah, he's loud. He's super loud, but everybody loves Apollo, so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, I mean, lavender, there's so many different things. One thing that we use it for a lot is the PTSD thing. So what's up? Was he going after the otter?
No.
What?
What?
What was he going after?
I don't know. I didn't go over there and look.
Okay, so another thing we mentioned before.
I've just figured if they didn't run from a 140-pound Rottweiler, I don't want to mess with them.
How did he get out?
Carol went to go slop something, and
Oh, he got out to the door.
she left the door open because it doesn't close all the way.
Okay, so another really cool oil that lavender is in is peace, we use, can you grab your rollerball real quick? So we use Peace, the rollerball, and this was kind of a no-brainer for us. We went from using vetiver, frankincense, things like that to get Jason to chill sometimes. And we found...
This takes away the Incredible Hulk moment.
Yes, we have found that when he feels like he's getting to a point where he can't, like he's about to be right on that edge, he puts that on. And
no, you put it on. I don't want to
yeah.
put it on because when I get to that point, I'm ready to have the Hulk.
Yeah, so I love it in a rollerball because it's perfect for putting behind his ears before he can stop me. So that is good. I'm out of the oils I use. The lavender, patchouli, cedarwood, and sandalwood. Those are all super, super oils.
Okay. How does lavender work on PTSD?
Well, it's a sedative property and it helps calm. That's the big thing is a lot of people with PTSD have anxiety issues. So it's not really a PTSD. It's the actual anxiety that comes with PTSD. And those are the things that lavender specifically, but also things like serenity, peace, all of these have calming oils in the blend, tend to work really well.
It's not going to stop the flashbacks or the triggers, but your anxiety level does...
It's more manageable, right?
Drop. Yeah, it becomes manageable. You drop a level or two. You take it down a notch or two.
Love, I don't know what PDC, Serenity, and my favorite is bergamot. Robyn created a monster. I love bergamot. That's an awesome.
Do you know anything about
wind tree oils? Nope, I don't.
Never heard of
any. I've never heard of them before.
Have you, Lucy?
What is it?
Wind tree.
Wind tree?
WYNN tree.
You know, to be honest with you, I really just am not very well educated in any other brand just because this is all I've ever used.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, so, you know, I can't speak to the quality or price or
anything.
Effectiveness. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's a
It's got to be a blend, right?
Is
It's
that
a brand.
Oh, that's a brand? Oh.
Right. That's what the hospital I work for sells. Remember?
Oh, okay.
She was telling us that... That's the one I was telling you that she works at a hospital and her hospital sells a brand of essential oils. And it's that brand. Oh, Suburban said peace. She loves peace. That's an excellent... That blend... And what's funny is... And everybody knows my story about this. I was originally very apprehensive about the touch oils.
Why? I didn't know this story.
Because I always thought if you had something that was in its true form, like right there, when you put the fractionated coconut oil in it, I feel like you're just watering it down. You're just diluting it too much. But then it was a BOGO. And I had to order one of the oils, and the other BOGO was a rollerball of peace. And I was like, well, I guess I'll use... Oh, no. It wasn't even peace. It was oregano. I got oregano. And I thought, you know what?
I love that rollerball.
This is a really good idea because...
Yeah, it saves lives. Oregano rollerball saves lives.
Saves armpits is what it does.
Saves marriages.
Saves marriages. But what I love about the oregano rollerball is that I don't have to measure out for my kids when everybody starts getting sick. And the protocol is for everybody to put oregano on the bottoms of their feet. I don't have to say, well, bring me the coconut oil and bring me this and hold on. Do it yourself.
There you go. That's even better.
Yep.
And so...
Because right now we're in that season. Before you go to bed, every night.
Oh, that's so cool.
Everybody gets oregano after the bathtub.
Especially with Blaze working in a county jail.
Right. And then I deal with the public a lot too. So between the two of us, we decided it was best to start doing that now.
We make Blaze just take the oregano bottle and dump it in his bathtub.
Was that for punishment?
We baptized Blaze in oregano oil because of where he works.
But no, so all joking aside, but we definitely, so with the rollerball, I had never tried Peace in the small bottle because it's pretty expensive for a very small, and so what I ended up doing is when this rollerball came as one of the BOGOs, I got it, and then I started looking at all of the ingredients, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, Jason, did you know that Peace has... And he's like, no. And I'm like, did you know it has... You know, and I started reading them off. Vetiver's the first thing on there. And lavender, and lang lang, and clary sage, and all the... And I'm like, Jason, we use all of these for your PTSD stuff, man. Maybe we should just try the ball. So, one day, he was like... about to explode, and I'm like, give me that Peace rollerball. So I took it, and I was like, and I didn't even take the ball. I put some on my hands, and I walked up to him, and my favorite little trick is to walk up to him and kind of do like this, and I'm like, baby, it's gonna be okay, and I rub behind his ears with all of this stuff, and so I
Good night, Food Forest, Paul McCarthy.
So Dee's leaving. Dee, why are you leaving?
Because her internet's acting up. And then I want to address a question. Have you ever tried Homestead Mama's oils? Yes.
We have.
We have. Didn't like them.
Not a fan. Anyway. So, but yeah, I am a sneaky woman because sometimes you have to kind of be a little creative. But I used to put it on my fingers and put it on the backs of his ears. The big one was vetiver. Like that was when I first started using vetiver. Vetiver works tremendously for that. And when I found out that vetiver and frankincense were both in Peace, I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. That's why we need this because he already uses these daily.
I think the other thing that I really love about the rollerballs is, you know, the actual blend, of course, is proprietary, but also having it in a rollerball. So, you know, you can't assume that it's a 50-50
It's not.
blend or dilution or, you know, 20-80. They have tested these rollerballs to make sure that you are getting a diluted version of the original, but that it's still very, very effective.
Exactly. That was the other thing.
Yeah.
Like once I started learning a little bit about it, I was like, oh, well, they really do. They really do pay attention to it. They don't just pour half of it in and half of it in. And there have been a lot of studies that recommend that dilution actually helps with the oils. So it's, you know, not taking away from it, but actually helps to disperse it better and to use it better. So I use this one a lot. So this is the next one that I absolutely love that has lavender in it. All of you women out there, we all know Clary Calm. One of the woman's favorites.
That's a marriage saver.
That is definitely, it's also a teenager saver because I will tell you, as Carol...
That's a female teenage saver.
Yeah. So Carol has definitely gotten a little crazy. And
How old is she?
She is almost 13.
Okay.
And what we didn't put together was she... about 2 years ago, really, about 11. Yeah, don't kill Floy oil. About 11, she started getting to where she would just fly off the handle for no reason. And of course, we were just like, she's just rotten and she's just being, you know, whatever. Just being Carol is what we'd always say. Well, when I found out about Clary Calm, I got it, used it for myself, and works wonders on different things. And one day, Carol was just in full meltdown. I mean, like, nothing was going to stop her. And so I looked at Ladessa, and I'm like, go get the Clary Calm. And it was in my car, in my purse. I'm like, go get the Clary Calm out of my purse now. And I used it on her just as a Hail Mary kind of thing. Like, maybe this will work, maybe it won't. But I did. I went right up to her and I snatched her and put it right behind her ears real quick. And she doesn't like the smell that much. And I don't know if she doesn't like the smell because she knows that it's about to calm her down. Like, I think she's like to that last little bit struggling. Like, she is not going to give in. And I will give her the Clary Calm, and it is night and day different. She goes from wanting to peel the paint off the wall to like laughing and cutting up and just totally different. Like, it is a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing. Like, it's actually kind of creepy sometimes because I'm like,
what did you say, behind her ears?
Put it behind her ears. And now she'll get to the point where she'll put it, I'll give it to her and she'll just put a dab on her wrists, and I'll make her rub it on her wrists and then take it behind her ears and just kind of disperse it. And so that's one of those things that we use.
Did her FBI agent
a lot? Yeah, they did. The FBI agent just chimed in. So, but yeah, I got to the point now where I have to have 2 bottles in the house because I have to have one bottle for me to keep on my person in case I need it, and we need one at the house just in case Carol just goes full crazy.
I know one thing that has been very helpful for a lot of women is young girls who have a lot of cramping that time of month, and just to actually just put it on their lower tummy and just kind of, smooth it and like within minutes.
I've used it for that myself. Yeah. Like, it doesn't have to be. What I basically tell anybody is if you're a female,
you need it.
You need this oil.
Yeah.
At Suburban, for the longest time, I talked back and forth with her about it, and I raved about how great this oil was. And everybody kind of like, yeah, okay. But the more I talked about it, the more I talked about it, the more I was very emphatic that this oil was like heaven in a bottle. Like, it was a godsend for me. And the thing is that you have to be careful because finally Suburban says to me, okay, order it for me, send it to me, I'll try anything.
Yep. You probably need a couple of bottles.
So here's what happened. We go to the conference, not last year, but the year before.
The very first.
And we're in Virginia, in the Walmart, picking up some things that we forgot to pack. So my phone rings, and I pick it up. And she's like, Robyn. And I'm like, Suburban? She's like, hey, how am I supposed to? And you could tell she's very, like, not her normal self. So come to find out, I said, well, how did you use it? She said, well, I put it on my wrists, and then I put it behind my ears. And I'm like, wait. How did you do that? And she was like, with the rollerball. Like, I put it on my wrists like this, and then I took the rollerball and put it behind my ears. I'm like, Suburban, go to bed. I will talk to you in a couple of hours. And she did. She passed out. I mean, super passed out, gone for hours. She was like, that's the best sleep I've ever had. But so that's the thing, is you really, really, really have to be careful with some of these because a little bit can go a very long way. And like Terry was saying, Amanda asks for that oil. It helps her faster than Tylenol. Do you know what we're going to do for it?
Nope. That wasn't my job.
Wasn't mine either.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't know it could do that. I like that. Replace sleeping pills. We joke. Some of the same oils that are in Clary Calm are what's in my Warriors Repose soap. Oh. And I joke about how it's kind of like a version of Clary Calm in a soap. It's definitely, some of those oils, clary sage and lavender, all of those are very good, have good sedative properties, which is what makes it work for your cramps. It's an antispasmodic, so it's definitely going to help with cramps and things like that. So let's see. What is this knockout oil called? It's on the screen right there. It's called Clary Calm. You can find it through doTERRA. If you're interested in getting it, you can message us. We've got our email up there in the stream. And you can just email me and I can get you pricing and get you
I love how
hooked up.
Suburban bounces back and forth.
Yes.
It's
very
Clary Calm, not Clary Sage.
No, she is Clary Sage. Leave her be. Leave her be.
Yeah, but we're
She's
talking
always
about Clary
Sage.
Calm.
She doesn't get, but Clary Sage is in Clary Calm.
Right.
So leave it
Doesn't
be.
matter.
Yeah, it does. Turmeric. So, turmeric. Oh, we love some turmeric. We have gotten to where we use turmeric all the time now for spasms and back pains and hip pains and leg pains and every pains. Okay, what else do we have here that has... Where is this?
I'm ready to do the giveaway.
Okay, we'll
So
do a
many people
giveaway.
are having issues with their computer, and we've gone down from, we went to 43 and then we're back up to 50, so it seems like people are back.
Okay.
So I want to do it while they're still here.
Okay.
Okay, good.
What do you want to do?
Give away the thing.
Okay, well, so real quick, Mama Gross says doTERRA is building a huge warehouse in my area. Young Living has their lavender farm south of that. It's like turf wars over here.
She must live in Utah.
Okay, let's see.
Well, I'll talk about it while you're figuring it out. Okay, tonight's giveaway is a kit. Boop.
You see it?
Bam. Can't really see it though.
There
The
you
but-
go.
plastic is
There it
making
is.
it too shiny.
Yeah. It has lavender, peppermint, and lemon. And you're going to be talking about lemon next week, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we already talked about peppermint. Tonight we talked about lavender. And next week, Robyn's going to be teaching about lemon. So,
Okay. I really liked this at the beginning of our class. Some of you were in here and some of you weren't. Lucy said that lavender has been called the blank of oils. What did she call it?
the first one it comes up on our screen. That's the way we got to go with. Our screen.
No, not
Nope,
the queen.
Not the queen.
There it is.
Swiss Army
Swiss Army knife.
Yay! Who
The
got it?
Xanax. Yeah, Karen. Karen got that. USA Kiwi.
USA Kiwi.
Yep. It was the... Well, dang, I don't know. Yeah. So, but really, that, like, totally covers what this whole class was about. That at the end of the day, lavender is the Swiss Army knife of essential oils. It can be used for so many different...
One of the most versatile.
It really is. There's so many
It
different
just
properties.
tastes like haggis.
I think it tastes a little soapy.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. She says she has that. Give it away again.
Okay, so we gotta
Oh.
come up with another one. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see.
Where is it harvested from?
There you go.
What country?
What country was it harvested from?
Does doTERRA have it harvested?
What country does doTERRA harvest lavender from?
It's like 3.
Yes, there are 3 oils in this kit. No, not the USA. Not Scotland.
Because you did talk about that, where it was.
There it is.
Common Sense University doesn't
France.
give a degree. Common Sense University.
France.
We.
Congratulations, sir.
Okay, now The person who won last week's never sent me their address. So.
Want to do last week's
No.
over again?
No, I'm just reiterating. I can't send it to you if you don't send me your address.
Right.
So you have to send me your address in order to make sure that I send it to you.
And then the next one in line. Well, okay, let's do it like this. Kathy was the next one who said France.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Common sense with the degree. You got to send us your.
Another one's a female. Gosh, we have a lot of females. We just got to assume everybody's a female from now on.
I did that last time. Send us your address. Kathy, you go ahead and send us your address also. If we don't get your address, Common Sense, by next week's show, we'll send it out to Miss Kathy.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah.
And then if we don't get Miss Kathy's address either, then we'll do it again on Wednesday.
We'll do it again next Wednesday. That's
next
it.
Wednesday.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, that's my big thing is like I have no problem giving out samples and stuff, but if you don't send me your address, I can't send it to you.
Right. So we didn't get last week's address. So
Who was it? What did you give away last week?
A sample bottle.
A small sample bottle of peppermint.
Oh, okay.
And I always try to get everybody to send us their address, but it just seems like they forget.
So what we'll do, Miss Kathy, if Common Sense sends us their email address, we will send you the sample bottle of peppermint. Since the person didn't claim their prize last week.
7 days to claim your prize.
7
there
days.
You got a week.
You got a week.
Everyone knows that lavender essential oil comes from Alberton, Georgia.
Tonight it did.
It did, that's right. Along with lemon and peppermint. So it's about 9:30. Would you ever buy an essential oils distiller? You know, Blaze and I were talking about that today.
Okay, hold up. Back that train up. Everybody knows that at a very young age, Blaze was cooking. Well, we allowed Blaze to also taste the wine as he was cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Blaze does not like wine.
Mm-hmm.
We had dude moments, and I'd let him take a sip of my beer. He didn't like beer.
He didn't like any of it. None of it.
But he likes apple-flavored cognac, and I don't understand that. But, but he got into the mentality with the cooking wines.
Mm-hmm.
What if I made my own? We got all of these muscadines at it. So he got really big into making wine. Mm-hmm. And then we made mead. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, now he's got his brain going. He wants to try to grow some hops to make
beer?
To
Like
make
the
beer.
cider
And then
stuff.
we started talking about he wanted to take it a next step further. And he got all upset because you have to have a license to distill for the whiskeys and the vodkas and
all of that stuff.
All that
You
stuff.
gotta have
wow.
And so he was like, "Well, I can still buy the distillery and we can distill the oils."
Yeah. Okay, there's a couple questions. First one is, can you use Clary Calm for back spasms? I mean, you could. I don't know how effective. I mean, I guess it would calm, like...
You never know.
Yeah.
I would try it.
I mean,
would
you can
definitely
try it.
Yeah.
Now, I do know for a fact, at least for us, spasms, turmeric has worked wonders for mine. I get spasms up underneath my shoulder blades, like super big, like the size of your fist spasms. And so deep blue works really well. Lemongrass works really well. I've even used ginger. Yeah, that stuff is amazing.
This is the bomb.com for spasms,
tension
headaches.
Mm-hmm.
Look, you know how when
Muscle
your
pain,
blood
any
pressure
kind of
blood pressure shoots up and right back in here it starts getting all tight and that headache starts creeping. I take this and I'll make Dessa or Carol, which one is the reason why Dad is starting to do that. I make them rub it in, and then I make them take some peppermint and rub
to
it
drive
on
it in.
because
Yep.
it drives it in.
Yep.
And within, seconds.
Yeah.
And you know what I really like too? It takes very little.
Yeah.
It
I
really
mean,
does. Like a
pea size.
yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to.
That's almost too much.
Yeah.
A pea
Yeah.
size is almost too much.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need a ton of it to. You'll be wasting it.
Yep.
Vicky, send me a PM and I'll we'll talk about it. There was another question. Rheumatoid arthritis. What's your suggestion for rheumatoid arthritis?
I would say get on the Lifelong Vitality supplements, and I would look at the Copaiba gels,
Copaiba, yeah.
and also the Deep Blue polyphenol.
Complex, yeah. Polyphenol complex
Yes.
is good.
Where did she say the arthritis was?
It's rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh, rheumatoid.
Yeah.
Yes, because that
Yeah.
can be everywhere. Your hand, especially your joints. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the oils applied directly will certainly give you immediate relief.
Yeah.
But to really get your whole body involved, yeah, I would really lean on some of the supplements.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, from a dude's point of view, like, I should write an essential oil book.
I wish you would.
The dudes.
I would buy it.
The dude's essential oils.
Exactly.
You should. You
Now,
should.
I might
You
do
might
that
do
after I
that.
get done with my predator
Trapping
control
mode,
book.
yeah.
There you go.
So that's another thing that's cool. doTERRA actually has little sample packets of the Deep Blue. And one thing that Karen was saying is it is ideal for keeping in your purse because it's the perfect amount to just a little bit at a time instead of that big huge tube, you know.
And if you work in an office, you can keep a couple of those little packets in your desk or even in the car or whatever. Yeah.
Is there
those packets are nice.
Is
For
there
travel?
There you go, honey. Is there an oil for fatigue?
Peppermint?
Motivate.
Peppermint is
Motivate,
definitely,
yeah.
but Motivate is
Motivate.
amazing.
Okay, let me see my Motivate.
Yes,
I got one
love
over here, too.
Motivate, and it smells good. It has peppermint in it.
Look, Motivate gets me moving.
Motivated?
It motivates.
It really does.
Me.
It's,
Look, and I
very, very
don't know
nice.
what it
And
is.
It smells good.
I got bored one day and I was just kind of sitting in here. And I took some of this and I went right here on my big veins. I went boom,
Oh,
boom.
look at you. Hey,
And
the
then
first one was peppermint.
Within minutes, I was out there.
It's in there.
I was out there with Blaze and we were doing stuff, and it had me so pumped. And Blaze was doing something else. I said, "Look, I just want to let you know that
I'm on Motivate and coffee soap.
I'm on
Just
coffee
kidding.
soap, coffee, and I did the Motivate, and I'm really thinking about jumping on you and wrestling with you right about now."
I love it just smells good. It's
Yeah,
just
it
an overall
does.
really nice
You see,
smell.
Linda?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Linda, just send me a PM and
That'll wake you
we'll
up from
talk
the
about it.
lavender.
Yeah. So Matt wanted to know what's in Motivate. It's got
I
peppermint,
can't even hardly read it.
coriander, clementine, never heard, basil,
Yeah, basil. is
yuzu, I've never heard of. It's a citrus type of oil. It's a peel. Melissa is in it.
That's
What did she do today?
Rosemary, and then the vanilla. And the vanilla is what,
Now, what is Melissa?
an expensive oil. And here's what's funny. You know what it comes from? Lemon balm.
That's right.
Lemon balm. We grow lemon balm in our
I know it's a real common
one of our
yeah.
beds, but it is made from.
So, what do you got to do to get an oil named after you? I want 10 years from now. I want to hear people talking about you got to do the Jason,
Yeah, the Jason blend.
the Jason blend.
Let's see. So, does Motivate affect high blood pressure? I would be careful with it.
You can pick up a car from just
be-
3 drops of Jason.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, you know where I would put it on the bottom of your feet. Mm-hmm. But just like one swipe.
What, the Motivate?
Yeah, it just, she said, what, blood pressure?
yeah. Try it on your butt. Yeah. But she's asking if it'll affect high blood pressure. If you already have high blood pressure, will it affect
Yeah,
it?
I don't think it would, But you know what? That's another one. If you're on
Yeah.
medication and all,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you've got a
Definitely.
health issue.
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine an oil named Hillbilly? Ooh, be a bunch of dirt smells. That'd be like
Vetiver.
some cypress and vetiver, some arbor vitae, just for good,
Wintergreen.
measure. There you go, some wintergreen in there. Anyway,
Now, and I'm surprised you didn't say that about the rheumatoid arthritis. It was wintergreen.
I was getting there. We were talking about it, but
yeah.
then you started talking about the deep blue,
Wintergreen
so I
is
just
good.
kind of...
Yeah.
Wintergreen is another fantastic... We use wintergreen and ginger a lot.
Now, see, I don't use ginger much.
Oh,
What do you
let me
use
tell
ginger
you.
for?
Well, the
My
ginger's
back.
warming. Yes, and so it's a warming oil. It's not hot,
Right.
but it warms, and so we put that with the wintergreen, and it's kind of like an icy hot kind of effect as well. And it works. And then the other thing is that it smells fantastic.
Yeah.
I love the smell of ginger and wintergreen together. So we use those a
I bet
lot.
those would taste good in cookies.
Wintergreen?
Oh, maybe not wintergreen, but the
Ginger? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ginger. I'm like, I wouldn't want to eat the wintergreen.
I'd be spitting all the time. I think I have a dip in my mouth.
Believe it or not, I don't
These
think
are some good cookies.
if I'm not
Taken
mistaken,
the ginger.
I don't think you can eat the wintergreen.
No,
wintergreen.
that one is not. It does not have a label.
Nope.
No fact
So-
check label on that.
Yeah.
I miss Miss K so much,
Oh,
Uh-huh.
and I'm gonna tell you a story.
yeah, you do.
And this is the part that I miss about her the most. Kay was a loving, caring person.
Mm-hmm.
And when she loved you and she cared about you, she started joking with you.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd always get you when you least expected it.
Mm-hmm.
I always have my tea.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I forgot about it.
I always use lemon in my tea. Well, it was after one of Robyn's classes. She did the class on cedarwood. Right? Robyn's supposed to take the essential oil bottles off of the desk and put them
Into the
up when she's
house.
done. Well, she didn't. I was literally teaching the kids school, and I wasn't really, and I just reached, grabbed my bottle, opened it up, went booga 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 booga, put the cap back on, and went. And kids were taking their test, and it wasn't this big, but I had a nice big glass. And I was dying of thirst because I just got done reading and talking.
It was in the spring/summer.
Yeah. And I just gong 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 gong, and I got about half the glass down. That's when
You
I
realized.
that's when I started tasting it. I'm like, this tastes funny. Put it down, and I smelled it, and it smelled like dirt. And I reached over to the oils, and I went cedarwood. And
No supplemental.
there was
fat.
no supplemental facts on it, right?
So he's
Right.
freaking
So I
out.
went, oh. And so I called Robyn. Robyn's like, baby, I don't know. You better call Kay. And so I called Kay. And Kay was like, okay, calm down. Relax. Tell me what you did. And she's like, all right, how many drops? I said, I don't know. I just kept shaking. And she's
Salt
like,
shaker.
and she's like, and you said it was cedarwood? And she's like, and I was like, yeah. And she's like, baby, I'm sorry. You're going to die. And she's like, so I'm gonna get with Robyn and we're gonna go ahead and arrange everything. And hung up.
Hung up on him.
And hung up.
Call back like 2 minutes.
And
later.
I'm like, Meantime, she's calling Robyn saying, oh, I just got him so good. So good.
I can picture Kay doing that.
And
with
you
a
know she's
straight
behind
face.
there going.
Oh my god.
And she's like, you better call him back because he's probably freaking
He's
out.
probably freaking out right now. Like I knew he was just dying. Like just
I was already telling the kids, all right, you get these traps, you get this gun. Phone rings, I'm like, hello. She goes, I was just messing with you. And I was like, that's just not, it's not
It
even
wasn't
cool.
even funny.
Not even funny.
Yeah, she was always. She loved to pull Jason's leg all the time
Yeah.
about stuff.
Yeah.
Because early on, he was very skeptic about how essential oils could work. He just thought they smell good. And
It was a witchcraft.
and I was. What you always used to say? I'm one eye of newt and one hair of a frog shy of
As
a.
in, you were a couple of spider legs and a hair from a bat away from being able to.
So, but anyway, so that was the thing, is that over time, and really what it boiled down to is I didn't let him decide when we used it. He would start acting a fool, and I'd go grab the vetiver, and I'd get him in the back of the ears, and 10 minutes later he would realize, like, he would be self-consciously aware that he had calmed down. And I'll never forget the first time I did it, it was just kind of like he didn't know what happened. But then the second or third time I did it, he was like, "What did you do to me? What did you do to me?" I'm like, "What do you mean, what did I do to you?" I can actively feel a difference in my demeanor. What did you use? And I told him. And so then I started, instead of being sneaky about it, I would let him know when we used it. And he started to see that, and we would swap it up, make sure that I didn't always use the same thing. And then he started to see that it helped with certain stuff. And so then it was, well, let me try this. Well, let me try this. And what happens is you just start finding, a bunch of different...
Like, I can't drink tea without my lemon essential oil.
He loves lemon. I go through lemon bottles.
I think
like crazy.
What's really so amazing...
But I always look at the bottle now.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I remember one time I had gone to Walmart and I was getting some contact lens solution. And so, I went into that pharmacy area, to get it. And, like, it just dawned on me. I never go to this section of Walmart anymore. I mean, I go to Walmart still and I buy toilet paper and paper towels and stuff like that. But it was like a light bulb moment, that it just dawned on me that I don't use Rolaids. I don't use Tums. I don't use the, what do you call it? The headache stuff.
Yeah. We're the same way.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of made me recognize and appreciate the big lifestyle change that had happened
progressively over time.
Exactly.
Right.
It wasn't overnight, but it was like, hey, you know what? Instead of reaching for this, let me see if there's an oil that can help me with that.
Exactly. That's what we did.
Yeah,
That was
what we
exactly
did.
what we did. So Mama Grows said lemon water is good for your liver and great first thing in the morning. With lemon oil be more powerful. Absolutely. Lemon
Cleanser.
And we'll find out about this next week because I'm going to cover it next week. But lemon, just to give you a little bit of an answer, is a diuretic. It does help with cleansing, and it definitely makes you what?
Pee.
It makes you pee. Definitely makes you pee. So
no kidney stones here.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it definitely it's definitely good for that. Lemon is one of those, and it's an overall uplifting kind of thing as well. So it's definitely a good thing to have first thing in the morning and kind of wake you up and get you going. We actually diffuse lemon with rosemary in the schoolhouse when we're doing schoolwork because
that's a good idea.
lemon is for focus and rosemary is for memory. So both of those together make a really good blend for schoolwork. So
I remember one time I was doing a booth at a fair and all that, and I had some rosemary out, and this man told me, he said, do you know what rosemary is good for? And I said, I've heard it's good for remembrance. And he said, back in the day where you saw the pictures of the old Romans and stuff and how they had that little wreath around their head, that was rosemary that they would wear to help them remember and be smarter and think. And I never knew that.
They also used to give rosemary bushes to newlyweds.
And what was that symbolism?
It was to remember the moment of when they got married. But then there's some quirky thing about where they stopped putting rosemary bushes out because it had something to do with
it gets so big? Or what?
No, because something with the soldiers not being good with their wives and something. I gotta look that one up because it was a very cool tidbit.
Get some rosemary.
There you go. Put it right here. I know, right?
Suburban, she'll send you a text
What is
about
it?
that.
Is there any benefit to someone becoming a wholesale customer? Absolutely.
Any
I
benefit to
will
you?
definitely. Huh?
She said any benefit to you.
Oh, is there any benefit to you if someone becomes... Yes, a little bit.
We've been on almost 2 hours.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. All right. So, any questions you have, write them down. Keep you a little notebook somewhere. Write them down. Anything you think of over the next week, put them off to the side and meet us back here next Wednesday, 8 p.m. We usually start the stream at like 7:55. And definitely come by next week. We're going to be covering lemon. And we have a lot. Even though lemon seems like such a plain oil,
Lemon is the bomb.com.
lemon has
Need
so
some
many
major
applications.
dude moments coming.
Yeah.
And
That the dude is
well,
going
you
to say.
need to tell me your dude moment so that I don't talk.
I've learned this time.
I think the
You
Lavender's
learned,
just
right?
chilling out there.
Okay, so what you got to say there, Big Bear?
I got an itch. Okay.
Put some lavender on it.
The Common Sense University.
Make
You have
sure
1
I
week.
get your email.
Get your email.
Yeah.
If not, it goes right
Frankincense,
on
one
down the
frankincense.
line.
Yep.
Same way with you, Miss Kathy. Make sure
Well,
we
I
get your
thank
email.
you for inviting me tonight and having me join you. This has been fun. I've seen you online, but to be here in person, it's
Pretty cool, huh?
it is really
Yep.
cool.
Now you gotta come back at least once a quarter.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I probably need to get some autographs too before I leave.
She got jokes.
She's funny. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for hanging out with us for almost 2 hours. I hope you guys
Always happens that way.
liked the information tonight that you were given. Remember, be kind to one another. Just because we're out of the season of brotherly love and loving your neighbor does not mean it has to end just because you had to go back to work. Be kind to one another. You don't know what that person could be going through. And a simple smile and manners could mean everything to that person. Don't forget to recycle, reuse, and repurpose. Keep things out of the landfill. Go to your local county. Try to get them to revive their downtown so they're not cutting down the forest for a strip mall that'll be vacant in 6 years. Give that wildlife a chance. You guys, thanks for coming by, and we'll see you Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our next live show. Night,
Night,
guys.
y'all.